This show contains adult content. Sounds Like Crows is sponsored by Ariel Weiss, Double Up Omega, Historian of Nukes, Suzanne Hagen, and all of our other patrons at patreon.com/Sounds Like Crows. With all that out of the way, welcome back to the Weird West. The eyes of all the Crow boys, except Lucky, snap open. You're in the crew quarters, beneath the decks of Mondrian's ship. You're in hammocks that have started to swing violently as the familiar sound of cannon explosions can be heard. Either smooth iron balls hitting the ship or heated shot exploding above decks. Some of you are thrown from your hammocks, but most of you are just shot awake. You can hear the sounds of shouting beneath the decks as people move to battle stations.
Abel rolls out of his hammock and hits the ground. Used to waking up under certain and sudden combat situations, it doesn't faze him that much. He's fine with it. Grabs his boots, grabs his coat, guns, and is out the door with a gun belt in hand, studded with cartridges all the way around as he starts running for the deck.
The step you take out of your hammock is emphasized by the loud thud of Thaddeus not so gracefully flopping out of his hammock, followed by a,
"Oh, what the hell? What's going on?"
He's just sort of fumbling around in the darkness looking for anything, probably a spear.
Look lively, boys. Guns and boots topside.
I don't know. Sleep's a little different for me. Since I'm harrowed, I don't have to sleep, and the Manitao Weichuge would force me to sleep.
I think that you haven't fallen asleep for the night yet.
Okay, if I'm fully conscious, I heard the cannon fire. I would just run for the deck, probably. Don't really need anything.
There's a small shelf on the wall next to the hammock where some of the sailors keep their belongings. There's one next to Harper. There's a small rag, a closed bottle of water, and then on that rag there's sitting his steel eye patch that he has to take off when he sleeps. I think the camera is set so that is in the foreground, up in the front left corner, and in the background you can see Harper and you can see all the other boys one at a time leaving the room, and then kind of straggling behind is Harper. He's putting on his gun belt. He's figured out a way to do that one-armed. He's sliding on his boots. He takes a step towards the door, puts his right hand up on the door frame, and kind of hesitates for a moment, takes a deep breath, pulls out his gun, and moves through the doorway.
We cut to the face of Lucky Crow, whose face is momentarily lit up by a cannon shot to his right as he covers his face and looks outwards towards the ocean. The camera stays on him as Mexican soldiers and sailors run along the decks of the ship, shouting orders and moving in sync. Even caught off guard, they seem to be moving as a cohesive unit. Behind him, running up the stairs of this wooden galleon, are his 4 brothers. As they enter frame, the camera pans around him 180 degrees to see what he's looking at. The Black Sea. Nothing as far as the eye can see. Very far against the horizon can be seen these black shapes, the silhouettes of the mesas coming out from the sea. You're in a large part of the maze that is cracked perhaps more wide open than the rest. And far in the distance you can see these flashes of orange light as cannons fire. And then seconds later, their thunderous roar.
Lucky stands up and goes to meet with his brothers.
What are you doing out here already, Lucky?
Jesus Christ.
It's a long story, but I think we're going to be in for some fireworks, because I don't think these assholes know who they just shot.
Fuck. Which side? Abel's looking around on the deck trying to figure out where these attackers are coming from.
Make a notice roll for me, Abel. With -2 because of the lighting.
11.
Far in the distance, you can see the orange flashes of light from these cannons. From your time in the military, you know that perhaps they're more honed in than your ship can be and would far outrange the ship you're on. But in addition to that, you see dark shapes in the water. Ships that no one has called attention to, sailing towards your convoy of 3 ships. All on the port side. It's the left side.
Abel is military man, but not a Navy man. Doesn't know the term for ships sighted and all that. So as he looks around, scanning the horizon, when he sees those ships up close, he runs toward the port side rail, points out, and just starts shouting as loud as he can. Boarders, ship's close. Look down there in the water, boys. And he just starts firing off a few shots in the general direction. Not trying to hit anything, but just to get people focused on, there are things down there. Let's start shooting.
Everyone make an agility roll for me.
Hey.
6.
Thaddeus got a 7.
Ellis got a 6.
14.
4.
Everybody's fine. As you start firing, Abel, a cannonball hits the deck of the ship and bounces off, sending splinters everywhere, and the boards crack underneath its massive impact. Running up to the port side of the ship with you is another man. He's from the ranks on his shoulders. You can tell he's more higher ranking than the soldiers running about the ship. And as he comes over to the railing, he says, "What are you shooting at?"
There's ships down there in the water, getting close. Can't really see them without any lights. He kind of gestures down into the water. See there? They look like shadows.
He looks down and he turns back around and starts yelling. Do any of you speak Spanish?
No.
Lucky
Probably,
does
like-
for sure.
Broken Spanish, maybe.
No, Lucky doesn't. I lied. He definitely doesn't.
Oh, okay. But he shouts out something and men start moving towards flares. Thaddeus, make a smarts roll for me.
I'm kind of that.
Good luck, Thaddeus. You got this.
I also got a 7.
Ooh, smart guy.
You see a well-built man, probably in his 40s. He's got a few like red hairs mixed in with on his full beard and his long ponytail that's pulled behind his head. He's not wearing any hat. He's got a crisply pressed tan uniform of a lieutenant. However, you know from experience, this man is not a member of the Mexican army. You recognize him as Agent Mayhew.
And he's on our ship, or he's coming up from...
He's on your ship. He's the man shouting orders to everyone on deck.
Huh.
His eyes scan to you, and you lock eyes.
Thaddeus tries to put on his dumbest face possible.
Great.
As if it's late and he doesn't know what's going on.
Make a persuasion roll to hide the shock in your eyes. This will be opposed by his smarts.
No.
But he's a dumb dude, so it's okay.
Well,
He rolled snake eyes.
What did he say?
I got a 4. So I think what happens is
Yeah.
we sort of lock eyes for a moment, and then Thaddeus, quick thinking, sort of like rubs his eyes like he's looking around, and he quick turns, I guess, to his left if he's looking out the port side of the ship, and tries to grab for his shotgun and help with his brother.
So he does not think you recognize him. Troops start to move to the port side of the ship and start firing off whatever flares they have in the 1880s. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's definitely flares.
Dude, when in doubt, Ghost Rock.
They shoot green flares off the port side of the ship, lighting up the night within about 50 feet of the ship. No ships are within that range, but the light starts to touch their sails and oars, and you can make out 6 of them within cannon's distance of the ship, but not within boarding's distance.
How big are these ships?
Very small. Yours is a large ship that can fit about 120 people. These ships could fit maybe like 10 to 30.
So these are like rowboats.
Rowboats, sloops.
And this is like the Mexican Armada, right? Like this is the biggest, baddest ship in the world, basically, at this point, right?
This ship is, really high quality, absolutely. And then in addition to that, you have like an ironclad and then a very modern ironclad leading the charge up ahead.
Dude, Lucky's taking it easy at this point. Are you kidding me? What's there to worry about?
What's there to worry about?
What's there to worry about?
And then the judge appears
Yeah. Miss me,
on the front of the
asshole.
ship.
I assume you don't want to make shooting rolls, Isaac, right? You were just like doing that for dramatic effect.
Doing it for dramatic effect, when they get close enough to within rifle range, Abel grabs a rifle from a nearby Marine and starts casually firing off shots at these
Just
ships.
steal his rifle.
More cannons start to shoot. No doubt the first cannons were honing in on your exact location. And before it was just a few cannons firing off in the distance. Now there's at least a dozen unloading. You can see the flashes of light, and you can start to hear the whistling of the cannonballs. And instead of one cannonball coming down on the ship, a whole slew of them land nearby the ship with a piece of heated shot hitting the deck of the ship. Everyone needs to make another agility roll at -1.
No.
Oh my god.
Hey.
Ugh. 3 with the -1.
2 with a -1.
I got a 3 with a -1.
5, including the -1.
Alex, Day, and Marshall, anybody want to use bennies? Otherwise, this is 3d6 damage coming at you.
Yep.
Yes, I would.
Wow.
I'm just going to add a d6.
I don't have that, so I'm going to do another roll. I got a 3 with a -1.
Well, this is the coolest wasted roll. I got a 19 after I spent that Benny.
Wow, so just lucky is taking 3d6.
Well, what's happening to me, Caleb?
Getting shot with a cannon
I'm getting hit by a cannonball?
yeah,
You kidding me?
dude. Directly.
Jesus.
All right, kill me.
All right, so it's only 15 damage.
Shit, that's it.
So here's the situation. Here's what's happening, Lucky. Now, heated shot is, I'm sorry to all of the fucking historians out there. However,
Nukes.
heated shot is not typically used on ships on account of the fact that it can start fires on the ship. But when you like load cannons with this, you're essentially superheating the core of the cannonball. So when it hits, it explodes, causes an explosion, and then fiery shrapnel. So as you're standing near the port side of the ship firing off, you hear the whistle coming in, maybe some people catch sight of it, and it lands directly on the port side of the ship, but underneath the deck. So it explodes, and you're the only one close enough. It bashes the railings, splintering them to pieces, and you're torn through with shrapnel as you're sort of thrown backwards, landing on your back on the deck of the ship.
Holy shit. Okay, this is actually kind of serious now, isn't it, guys?
Jesus, Lucky, are you all right?
Wait, did you soak that
soak?
15 damage?
Yeah, I'm going to suck
Could
the shit out of
I
it.
use part of my crazy raises to give him a +2 to his soak roll?
That's a great idea if you tell me how you're doing it. Yeah.
Well, you said that it's blown up from just beneath the feet of us, right?
Yeah.
Well, Thaddeus had just turned to face off that side where Abel was, and he sort of sees the streak of this hot cannon
stuff.
shot. Yeah, this hot stuff.
Hot
flying
stuff
towards
coming through.
the cannon. And I think that in that split second, as he sees it, he sort of pushes back against the railing and almost like mom arms Lucky and pushes him back with him.
I got 1 success. Wait, did you give me anything? What did you give me? +6?
I mean, I'd like to give you +6.
That was +6?
I was lobbying for 2, but I'll take 6.
I think it was +2.
Well, then you did nothing, Thaddeus. Thanks for nothing.
I tried, man.
You and your mom arm.
Well, you know,
So
instead
that's a
of
6 total.
So you only take 1 wound. The explosion rocks you to the deck, and the whole ship starts to sort of sway back and forth. The ship directly in front of you is taking fire as well. That's the old style ironclad that's directly in front of you. It's a smaller ship, and just the outside of it is banded with steel. So a few cannonballs hit the side to no effect, while one piece of heated shot hits the side, breaks through the iron and into the cannons. Another one hits the deck of the ship, shattering it and sending sailors and soldiers flying overboard screaming. With that, Coronel Manuel Mondreon walks onto the deck of the ship. He's wearing long, black polished riding boots with tan trousers, a long belt holding up 2 holsters with silver revolvers. In front of those, he's got a setup where he has hip holsters, and then 2 smaller pistols are on like the front of his thighs. As he comes up onto the deck of the ship, he's wearing a large duster, a large trench coat, black as the night that surrounds you. And he pulls it back and ties it back with 2 cords that hang from the front. And as he ties it back, you can see that 3 revolvers are holstered on each side, giving him 5 on each side in addition to the 2 he's currently spinning in his hands as he walks onto the deck of the ship. His silky black hair and goatee are sort of blowing in the breeze, and he has an air of confidence to him as he takes the deck of the ship.
Abel is kneeling next to Lucky, pistols holstered, and is putting one hand under his shoulder, trying to help him back to his feet. Lucky, are you all right?
Lucky kind of... Wait, so what would this shit do to me? Am I just like on fire, or did like this shit go inside my body?
It's a shrapnel of wood and then the impact of your head hitting the deck behind you.
Lucky rubs the back of his head, and there's a small bit of blood on his hand. Yeah, I think I'm good. Just help me up. I need to go downstairs, though.
Yeah, let's get somewhere where we aren't gonna get hit in the face with the fucking cannonball.
Well, I just need to get Lady, and then we can come back and help.
Abel stands and extends his hand to help Lucky up.
Lucky takes that hand.
Should we do a thing about the hand catching me on fire or burning to re-emphasize that?
I was going to grab you with the right.
It works for me.
So no. No, we're not going to do that.
Abel pulls Lucky to his feet, claps an affirmative hand on his shoulder, and then gestures towards him to help orient him towards the stairs down below.
Lucky probably has a concussion of some kind, but he stumbles his way downstairs.
I think in this situation, Ellis kind of looks to Abel as kind of like the leader instead of Mondragon or whatever his name is. So I think I would approach Abel. So what's the plan here, Abel?
Get a rifle, make sure your guns are loaded, and shoot anybody that's not wearing a Mexican uniform.
Well, I ain't too good with a gun.
Fine. Just toss them in the water.
All right, sounds good to me.
Gonna be enough weird shit down there. I doubt they're coming back up anyway, huh?
So during this whole exchange, during all of this, Harper has just kind of been off in the background. He's had his back up against a wall, maybe over by the stairs. He's just kind of been watching all of this unfold, trying to keep his head down, trying to stay out of the way. I don't even think he has his gun out at this point. He's just been watching the boats approach, watching the cannonballs hit, and kind of ducking as shrapnel kind of comes flying past him, and is almost ignoring the brothers as they start to move downstairs. He's kind of just caught up in everything that's happening.
What's interesting is I don't think any of you, despite your experience with killing folk and experience in the war, have ever experienced a battle like this. It's not chaos. Like the amount of time it takes to load a cannon and fire off with an entire volley takes minutes. So there's long periods of silence with nothing but shouting and anticipation where people wait for the next artillery to hit. As Mondrian moves past some of the boys moving down into the ship, he starts to talk to Agent Mayhew, who presumably Thaddeus is close enough to hear.
Yeah, he probably, after he pushed Lucky, hopefully out of the way of this explosion,
You tried.
He probably stumbled a little closer.
Signal the other ships. We need to turn into the maze immediately. Open fire on those ships moving towards us. Let's get out of here. Agent Mayhew nods to him, side glances at Thaddeus, and then moves to the stern of the ship towards the wheel and towards the flagmen to signal the other ships.
Throughout this scene, Abel has been, to the other brothers, visibly down lately. He's been a very different man than the one that they've come to know. And it's in this moment, in this fight, that they can actually see some more excitement and life coming back to him. This is a place that, even though he's not familiar with the ships, this is a comfortable place for him, a place that he's happy to be. And it's like he's looking for a way. It's like he's looking for a way to get into this fight and do violence.
Do any of the Crow boys have the skill battle?
No.
No.
Nope.
Probably should, but no.
He'd have been the guy.
Well, there's a difference between tactics and strategy. I doubt Abel was a strategy man. Mondrian's ship, the Carne de Oso, turns towards the maze. And as it does so, it fires a volley with the port side of the ship. It lands dead on one of the sloops approaching it, completely disabling the ship. The mast breaks in half, and the whole thing is lit up in the night with the cannon fire. The crew of the ship can be seen, ragtag group of people, some young, some old, no uniforms and no flags flying on their ship, as the back of the ship is cracked and broken in half and the ship starts to sink. Some of the other ships moving to board turn to port, pulling away from the ship as it turns starboard, right into the maze. There's a wide shot of the three ships. You can see that the ships have been moving along, skirting along the edge of these freestanding mesas. It's almost like they've been in a clearing next to the forest's edge as they turn into it. The first one to go in is the ironclad ship, the one with the harsh angles and the turrets on front, as it turns into the first available channel. As your ship moves closer, another volley of cannon fire lets loose, and at this point I'm going to start rolling for it. Who's still on the deck of the ship?
Harper and Thaddeus?
Thaddeus, make an agility roll for me.
Yeah.
What else would it be?
Yeah. You said, I'm going to start rolling for it. Man, I should probably grab this.
Dude,
See you
don't
later,
fall in the
guys.
water.
Hey, my agility
Ooh.
blows up, baby. That's an 11.
Okay, no problem.
Not today.
Thaddeus is at his best right when he wakes up. It's like,
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
proven.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
as soon as you wake up, you're like you're a
he's
champion.
in it. And just give him like 20 minutes, though. He's right back to shit.
Yeah, and then you just downgrade.
I think you probably kind of loosely followed Agent Mayhew to the back of the ship, and you can see they've been signaling with flags to the other ships. It's hard to see in the night, but they've lit torches next to them. He signaled them to turn into the maze. A cannon cannonball flies right past you, doesn't even connect to the ship. There's no big booming sound as a man is torn in half in front of you. No time to even scream as the cannonball obliterates, carelessly and without malice, the man entirely, and then splashes into the water on the other side of the ship.
There's like a stunned look on Thaddeus' face from the green flares that were sort of leaving behind us. I don't think Thaddeus has ever been part of war type battle before. Mostly just like skirmishes and fighting with cowpoke, and Thaddeus wasn't used to it. So yeah, he's utterly shocked for a moment there and probably stumbles further to the back of the ship and grabs a hold of the railing to sort of steady himself.
I think we follow the action from the steering wheel where Agent Mayhew is shouting out orders to the navigator. He violently moves the wheel to the right, to starboard, bringing the ship into the maze. Or at least you think he's going to. Coming up from out of the water are these large, like 60-foot tall mesas coming out of this seawater. Just these looming figures above you. It's hard to even make out detail on the sides or on the top as the shadows are cast extremely dark when they're this close together. But he pulls the ship too far to the right. You almost feel like he's going to crash into the side of the ship as Agent Mayhew drops a red flag. With that, an order is called down on the deck of the ship and yelled into the hole, and we see a shot of one side of the ship as they, like the keys of a piano, are played from one side of the scale to the other in perfect synchronization as each cannon fires. As it does, the whole ship lists to port, turning left and barely scraping by the edge of the mesa as it moves into the channel. The volley connects with yet another ship who is trying to get away from the ship's malicious cannons as it is sunk into the depths of the sea. A few more cannonballs hit the sides of the maze behind you before you're finally in cover and in darkness. Ahead of you are the two ships. The one directly in front of you, a little bit smaller, and they start to light torches and lanterns on the decks of these ships to stay in communication with each other and also to see any hazards that may be in the channel. As Mondrian's ship pulls in, if you lean off the side of the ship, there's probably only 10 feet of clearance or less on each side. It's a large ship as it pulls into the channel. The two in front of you have an easier time, so it's lucky they're ahead. Flags are waved off the stern of the ship as the cannon fire stops, and it moves into almost an eerie silence as men and women stay silent for their orders and for communication from the ships.
So
ahead.
Harper kind of moves from his little spot up against the wall. He moves to the port side and kind of looks back behind the ship to see if any of those smaller boats are following.
Make a notice roll.
At I'm assuming -4 because I'm one-eyed and it's dark.
Yes, you got it. Yikes.
It's a 3.
Yeah, you peer off the back. You do not see any ships. The shots of the cannons have stopped, and even if you had depth perception, it would be hard to tell even where the cannons were that were firing at you. It's just black. It's just night.
Lucky bursts onto the deck, pistol drawn. All right, now where are these motherfuckers? And then blood trickles down the side of his head.
You sure you're all right there, Lucky?
He waves Lady over into Ellis's direction and points it directly at him.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Easy there. You got a little blood coming off your head there, Lucky.
Lucky takes his right hand and wipes the blood and looks at it in his hand. Oh, yeah. Holsters Lady and walks over to Ellis. What the fuck's going on?
I don't know. When was the last time you went swimming, though?
And Lucky thinks real hard. I don't think he can remember the last time he's been swimming.
Well, that's not good.
It's been a while. Why? You think we're going down?
I think there's a pretty good chance we might be going down here, Lucky, but I don't know. Hopefully this Mondragon guy knows what he's doing.
Lucky gets eerily close to the edge and stares down and gets a little bit of vertigo before falling back. I hope not. I don't like what it looks like down there.
As the battle has momentarily ceased, or perhaps permanently ceased, a doctor along with 3 assistants have moved to the deck of the ship, and they're starting to move around, checking for dead and checking for wounded. Anyone they flag as dead, soldiers quickly and efficiently take any arms and ammunition they have off of them and then toss them overboard.
Abel strides up to the 2 boys, casually loading the rifle with almost a happy expression on his face. How you boys doing? I'm not sure I got anybody, but I must have tagged someone.
What are you so happy about, Abel?
He takes a deep breath and just looks out into the ocean for a minute. Just feels good to know what we're doing, Ellis.
To know what we're doing? I have no idea what's going on right now, Abel.
Yeah, me neither. Lucky flags down the nearest doctor. All I want is a goddamn night of sleep.
I think at this point Harper kind of comes walking up. He doesn't really say anything, but he kind of moves into a position where he can be around his brothers.
Getting his shots off?
He just shakes his head.
Yeah, it was some tough ones.
Some cannons are starting to be tied down at the stern of the ship, getting ready for any would-be followers through the canyons.
I tell you boys what, I'm happy we did not sail this with Old Boot.
I think old Boot would have done just fine, Abel.
You would say that.
Well, you guys didn't
Jack.
hear the stories he was telling me.
Oh, I'm sure he had stories.
Whoa, 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 whoa! You're shouting from up ahead, the first ship. There's not a lot of people on the deck of that ship. The crew is very minimal as well. One of them is starting to flag right, and the whole ship is turning to starboard. And you can see why. Their lanterns have lit up a large collection of debris in the channel they were following. And they turn starboard into an adjacent channel, and the ship behind them moves a little bit to the left, a little bit to port, so they can take a wide angle of approach, and your ship soon follows.
Are there any sort of ghost rock powered searchlights or like a lantern with a focusing beam on it, you know?
If you want to flip a Providence ship,
Oh, you can invent something right now, dude.
Yeah,
With the
let's flip a
of chip.
Providence chip for this. All right, put them out left to right for me. Oh, I want the if we're numbering them left to right, I want number 2.
number 2.
No.
Oh, Abel.
No.
You
That's
killed
the
a species
crow.
of beaver.
That's the crow, man. All right,
Well.
you're asking for a searchlight.
You get one when a fire bursts out on the deck of the ship.
A cannonball hits you and you now illuminate.
Abel, you move to the side of the ship, and you do indeed find a sort of lantern that's pointed one way, all the mirrors collected to point in a certain direction. It's got a ghost rock sort of fuel concoction in the bottom of it, and you light it up with a small hiss, the lightest scream of a burning damned soul. And you point it upwards into the maze, and you can see this fog that's rolling up there. It's not in the canyons with you, it's not in the channels, but you can't even see the night sky now, just the gray fog as you illuminate it with your searchlight.
He leans closer to the rail and points the beam down towards the water. Can I see anything that, we were turning sharply to avoid something? Can we get any view of what it is?
You turn the spotlight to see the cracked side of the mesa wall.
Oh, shit. We're pretty close to it then.
You're pretty close to it then, yeah. With how big your ship is and with how little clearance there is, this sailor is probably getting within 3 feet of the debris as you float by it. And maybe you even can hear some scraping and splintering on the hull of the ship underneath the water, reverberating through. Make a guts roll, not for like a supernatural, just for like Abel feels like he might get jumped,
Yeah.
Or the terror of realizing just how close you guys were to just
Yeah,
slamming into
exactly. 4.
Yeah, as it floats by, you sort of get this sense of dread that if your ship was going first and you weren't as close to the water as that first ironclad was, the ship would have sailed right into it, just breaking the hull apart in seconds and sinking the ship, leaving you stranded here in the middle of a saltwater maze with no food for miles.
Yeah. Abel staggers back and shutters the lantern. When he turns back to the brothers, some of that bravado that he had worked up in himself has seeped back out.
Breaking the silence is the close sound of gunfire, of cannon fire. Cannons rolled out on the edge of the mesas above you on wheels, and within seconds their fuses lit and firing down on the ships below. Thank you for listening to Sounds Like Crows. If you like the show, the best thing you can do is tell a friend about us or leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. The cast of Sounds Like Crows is as follows. Caleb Sunstead plays the Marshal at Marshal Caleb on Twitter. Abel the Crow is at Abel the Crow on Twitter, played by my brother, Isaac Sunstead. Thaddeus is played by Marshall Sims at Mr. Malicious1. Ellis is played by Alex Horrell at Alex Horrell. And then Lucky is played by Cameron Day, who's abhorrently absent from social media. However, you can check him out on our Discord server for our patrons. And bringing up the rear, little baby Daisy Crow, Harper Crow, played by Cameron Reed at CJ Reed 211. Deadlands Reloaded is owned by the Pinnacle Entertainment Group, and all music on the show is written and performed by Rudy Zuniga and Levi Ross. See you next Monday.